evening. We begin tonight with breaking news from Carrick. A city police officer trapped in his cruiser.
The officer had been responding to a burglary in progress on Brownsville Road when a car pulled right in front of him. The cars collided, trapping the officer in his car. He remained there until firefighters could free him. The officer was taken to Allegheny General Hospital. His condition is not known. The other driver was not hurt. The 1700 block of Brownsville Road remains closed tonight while accident investigators continue their investigation. Fallujah, Iraq is under coalition control tonight under the command of a Gateway High School grad.
Major General John Sattler is the man at the helm. Now, artillery and airstrikes were halted earlier tonight for the safety of the troops in the darkness. Meantime, half a world away in Monroeville, family and friends gathered to honor the commander's high school sports career. Channel 4 Action News reporter Megan Jones spoke to those that knew him about his current mission in Fallujah. Good evening, Megan.
Good evening, Jake. John Sattler graduated from Gateway High School in 1967, one of 9 children to Margaret and Frank Sattler. His family says he was always interested in the military and athletics. Tonight, his alma mater honored him for both. The assault on Fallujah is taking place around the clock, half a world away. The man commanding the troops is Major General John Sattler, a Pittsburgh native.
We will continue to pursue the intimidators, the murderers, the thugs, and the terrorists who have stolen Fallujah.
Of course, as most of us know, John cannot be here with us this evening.
Saturday night, Gateway High School inducted Sattler into its Sports Hall of Fame. Before he was a serviceman, he was a Gateway wrestler, a football player, and Jim Sattler's older brother.
Truly American, that he doesn't have to be doing this at his age, and the reason why he's doing it is for another man's freedom, and he just feels that strongly about it.
Jim Sattler says he has always looked up to his older brother and he admires his work in Iraq. Major General Sattler is commanding 40,000 U.S. troops in their effort to retake Fallujah. He spoke to his brother Saturday morning about the mission and the media coverage.
He said there's nothing really not being reported, but you know, there's a lot of things that are being said that aren't quite true about the insurgents getting out of the city unchallenged.
Those at Saturday night's ceremony who know John Sattler say it doesn't surprise them that he has scaled the military ranks. They recognize the battle for Fallujah is a monumental task.
The time that you're putting people in harm's way to accomplish a goal is extremely tough.
Obviously, you think he's up for the challenge?
He's the right person for the job, no doubt in my mind.
Sattler has received several decorations, including the Defense Distinguished Service Medal and the Legion of Merit. Jim Sattler says his brother plans on continuing his military service for as long as they will have him. I'm Megan Jones, Channel 4 Action News.
And tonight, U.S. forces have declared the operation to free Fallujah accomplished, although they do say it could still take several days to clean the final pockets of resistance in the city. Iraqi officials say more than 1,000 insurgents have been killed in the last 5 days of fighting, but terror mastermind Abu Musab al-Zarqawi is said to have escaped. Officials believe he and hundreds of others are hiding out in the outskirts of the city or in other towns. U.S. casualties are mounting. The more seriously wounded have been airlifted to the U.S. military hospital in Germany.
A group of local reservists that knows the horrors of war is heading to Iraq. The 14th Quartermaster Detachment, based in Greensburg, has been mobilized in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. Back in 1991, 13 members of the same unit died when a Scud missile hit their barracks in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia. 43 other soldiers were wounded. Now, 13 years later, a total of 48 soldiers are heading to Iraq. They'll be there at least a year and a half. The family of Staff Sergeant Sean Huey is upset because it may take a week or more for their loved one's body to be returned home. Huey was killed this week in Iraq when a bomb exploded near his Humvee. He was from Fredericktown, Greene County. The family emailed us tonight, upset the Army is not acting faster to bring the body back to the U.S. They say the wait is causing his parents extreme grief. Sean Huey was married and had an 11-month-old son.
Tonight, Vice President Dick Cheney is resting at home. Cheney went to the hospital this afternoon after complaining about shortness of breath. The diagnosis from doctors, an upper respiratory infection. Vice President Cheney and his wife Lynn left the hospital just a few hours after they arrived.
God bless you, Mr. Vice President.
On the advice of his doctors, the Vice President had gone to George Washington University Hospital for tests after experiencing some shortness of breath.
We're great, thank you.
Spokeswoman Mary Matlin says the vice president has been nursing a bad cold since he returned from a South Dakota hunting trip this week. But she says Cheney did not require an ambulance and was well enough to walk into the downtown D.C. hospital on his own. The 63-year-old vice president has a history of heart trouble, including 4 heart attacks. In 2000, doctors inserted a coronary stent to prop open a narrowed artery. And in 2001, Cheney had a pacemaker implanted in his chest.
I look on this as an insurance policy. It may never actually be needed, but if it is, then it's obviously the right thing to do to have it implanted.
The vice president and his wife Lynn kept up a punishing schedule in the final weeks of the presidential race, including a nonstop 39-hour campaign swing through 8 states, including Hawaii.
I'm here for a very simple reason. Hawaii is a vital state in this election, and President Bush and I would be honored to have your vote.
The vice president hasn't experienced any serious heart problems for a few years, but aides say his visit to the hospital today was the result of an abundance of caution.
The safety of students at the new Homewood Elementary School story has taken a new twist. The NAACP wants Mayor Murphy and other city officials to rid the neighborhood around the school of drugs, prostitution, and other crime. Local President Tim Stevens mailed a letter to the mayor inviting city officials to join school officials and police in solving the problem. Stevens says the city and school have to take the first step.
Again, we're calling for the meeting of all appropriate persons, all department heads that can affect this, either from the school board and or the city, to come in one meeting and sit down and analyze what must be done, the game plan of how it could be done, how it could be implemented, when the various steps must be implemented. That's what has to happen.
Stevens says the state has now agreed to pay for busing in a portion around Braddock Avenue. Well, imagine looking out your window and seeing this. DEA agents, men in white biohazard suits. The meth lab found inside a home in McKees Rocks is no more tonight. 3 people are under arrest, but neighbors are still very nervous. Meth labs are not only illegal, they're dangerous. The chemicals have been known to explode or suddenly ignite.
They are kind of in my backyard, and my understanding was if there was an explosion, the whole block would blow up. So I'm really concerned.
Neighbors say law enforcement and fire officials converged on this home in McKees Rocks Friday afternoon. Not only did they discover a meth lab, but marijuana plants and 2 weapons. They seized 2 cars, a motorcycle, and a large amount of cash.
We pulled up out front yesterday, and that's when I saw the fire trucks and stuff like that, and I asked a police officer, and he told me directly what was going on.
2 men and 1 woman were arrested. The trio described by neighbors as suspicious characters. One resident tells us she often heard gunshots coming from the home here on Clever Avenue. Another says she smelled fumes.
There's a young girl that lives next door to me that has 2 little kids, and she used to say she smelled gas or something funny. I would go in her house and I didn't smell anything, but it never dawned on me what was going on back there.
According to law enforcement, the meth lab could have produced 2 ounces at a time, a huge amount with a substantial risk of explosion. A few residents were asked to leave their homes for a short time. Even Linda Taylor was prevented from parking behind her home. After all, her car would be too close. She, like many here, are still trying to comprehend the whole thing.
I was shocked, because like I said, this is a really quiet neighborhood.
Now, Clever Road is reopened tonight, and everyone there is back in their homes.
The attorney for James Tater promises he will appeal his client's murder conviction this week. Tater was found guilty of first-degree murder on Thursday for the starvation death of his 4-year-old daughter, Kristen. Then last night, the judge sentenced Tater to life in prison after jurors said they were hopelessly deadlocked in the penalty phase of the case. Tater's mother, Janet Crawford, pleaded guilty to murder and was spared the death penalty in exchange for her testimony. Well, apparently a McKeesport bank robber is not camera shy. Police have released a picture of the suspect. Take a look. McKeesport police released this surveillance photo of a man they say went into the National City Bank on 5th Avenue Friday, approached the teller and demanded money. After the teller handed over the money, the man ran out. Now, the man is believed to be in his late 20s or early 30s with a mustache. As you can see, he was wearing a long black leather jacket. And another bank robbery and another good look at the suspect from surveillance cameras. This one at the Citizens Bank inside the Monroeville Giant Eagle this morning. Police say the man seen here in a Steeler cap, plaid shirt, and sunglasses walked in shortly before 11 o'clock and demanded cash. He's described as being about 5'7", medium build. If you recognize him, call Monroeville Police.
Governor Ed Rendell is calling on Pennsylvania lawmakers to support the Oversight Board's financial plan for the city of Pittsburgh. The governor says he's in favor of the idea of new taxes and increased revenue, in addition to budget cuts. He says lawmakers must grant the city the taxing power it needs to reform its tax structure. The lawmakers are running out of time. Their session expires on November 30th.
After 6 years of restoration, the Civil War monument on the north side was rededicated this afternoon.
Shoulders on.
Civil War reenactors took part in the ceremony rededicating the monument to the 4,000 Allegheny County men who fought and died in the Civil War. The monument was originally dedicated in 1871. The $80,000 facelift included repointing the statue on top of the monument along with new stone etching. No hanging chads, no Supreme Court. All they needed to determine the winner of an election in Florida was a coin. It seems the two candidates for Groveland, Florida City Council received 689 votes. After 2 recounts, they still could not determine who won. So on Friday, both candidates showed up at the city's community center, and they determined a winner the old-fashioned way. They flipped a coin. 75-year-old Richard Flynn called heads. It was tails. So the winner is 77-year-old G.P. Sloan.
And they seem to be taking it in stride.
I think it would have been better for rocks, paper, scissors.
Yeah,
At least you have a best out of 3 that way. Unclaimed property up for grabs.
How you can cash in on some really big bargains up next. Plus, did you ever wonder what happens to lost luggage? A garage sale like no other coming up.
And later, a record-setting day for Pitt quarterback Tyler Palko. So why is he apologizing? Find out.
And near freezing and falling. That's where we're headed tonight. Skies clearing out in the wake of some great skies earlier today with plenty of sunshine. Numbers were struggling, though. Started at 27, only to 44. Normal high this time of the year should be 51. We'll let you know if we make that tomorrow, coming up after the break.
That's the telephone company that's ripping me off.
Angry over your phone bill?
I received my bill and fireworks went off in this house.
Don't get mad. Get even. Channel 4 Action News' Wendy Bell shows you how. From billing mistakes to bogus charges, Channel 4 Action News shows you a service that'll fix your phone bill for free. Watch Monday at 6.
This weekend, discover the Dow's Day Sale and save up to 1/2 on the area's best selection of fine quality furniture and carpet, with custom orders and floor samples. Take advantage of 1-year free financing or pay in full, and Dow's will deduct the sales tax for even greater savings. Don't miss the special Dow's Day Sale this weekend at Dow's of Plumville and Dow's of Greensburg.
Doesn't your home deserve Dow's?
Julia Roberts is back. The biggest movie star and the biggest supermodel make over their best friends. Next, Oprah.
The all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee, with an interior that's quieter than a Jaguar S-Type 3.0. It's worth a look. The off-road legend continues on-road. Get $1,000 in November bonus cash for a combined cash allowance of $2,000 on Grand Cherokee. America's hottest 4x4s are at your Jeep dealer.
She's made a fortune in music.
Now see how Christina Aguilera is pouring her money and heart back into Pittsburgh. Watch Channel 4 Action News Sunday at 11 after the American Music Awards.
You need some gift ideas this holiday season? Well, Pennsylvania's Bureau of Unclaimed Property has just the ticket. The Bureau is auctioning off unclaimed items on eBay. How about 548 Roosevelt dimes for the person who has everything, a bar of silver or an engagement ring? All up for grabs to the highest bidder. The items are all held in a vault in Harrisburg. There's cash too, but of course that's not for auction. If you'd like to check in if any of that cash is yours or bid on an item, visit the department's website at treasury.state.pa.us. We've also put a link on our website, thepittsburghchannel.com.
Interesting.
And speaking of unclaimed stuff, did you ever fly somewhere, you arrived, but your baggage did not?
Yeah, every year it happens. Millions of Americans fly home for the holidays, but sadly their luggage will not. So, what happens to all that stuff? Believe it or not, it is actually put up for sale. It's a veritable treasure trove of Palm Pilots, Burberry scarves, Ralph Lauren sunglasses, and of course, luggage. All at discounted prices.